Mr. Ram, would you like to respond to that?
Some important.
Sorry? So sorry, I didn't hear.
He's responding to that.
Rahul, who's the question addressed to?
The question was for Mr. Ram.
No, I have not asked any question.
Okay,
I have
you
given
made
my
your point.
opinion.
Okay, you made your
question.
point.
I
I
respect him.
one more point
I
I
respect
made
him
here.
totally. I have no problem.
I think as far as
Can I come in, Rahul, here, please?
Yes.
what
Just one by one. Let Dil
as
make
far
his
as
point.
what the communication person has done, if she has changed somebody's opinion based on evidence and data, that is their job. If they don't do that, what is the communications advisor doing? So to that extent, I think everybody here is speaking in the same direction. There is a role for them as long as journalists take it as an input, as a source, and that's allowed.
Lots of people tweeting in live on this show, and I now want to take some of the tweets that we're getting. This is a live show. You can tweet in live, and I want to take up one of the principal recurring themes in the tweets that we are getting, that journalists often ask for ministers, for generals to step down. N. Ram made that point that BBC would not have tolerated this. Should the proprietors for whom these journalists are working, should action be taken, or can they come brazen it out, make their points and get away with it? I want to put this question first to Mr. N. Ram. You've heard everything, you've seen everything. Do you believe that after these explanations have been made, life can go back to normal? Or do you believe that a strong message needs to be sent that what has been done is not okay and that you cannot go on as if nothing happened? Mr. Ram.
Absolutely. Life cannot go on as normal. In fact, today, Hartosh and I were at the Asian College of Journalism, where he was one of the main speakers, along with Gopi Krishnan, and 200 students or so were there. I didn't hear a single voice that bought into this explanation that was provided last night. This extraordinary show that was put on last night. And the message that has gone there is the right message, because people like us are speaking out. But let me make it clear on Prabhu. I don't know if things are absolutely clear. What I said is, he has no case to answer. He shouldn't be dragged in this discussion, because what he did is not, it doesn't even figure in our discussion of this ethics, because there's nothing wrong with what I read in the transcript.
Thank you.
But in the case of the other two, I'm very concerned. And if people don't, T.N. Nainan wrote, apologize and move on. Sanjay Baru gave Barka a chance last night. Apologize towards the end. And she did not. All she said was, maybe an inadvertent error of judgment. Innocent. All the time, she kept proclaiming her innocence. Veer's response was a little different in style, but I don't see any real acceptance
Ram,
of a serious transgression. And that's not the message that should go to young journalists in this country. And I'm delighted that out there people are not accepting this at all. But this doesn't mean you can say anything about these journalists or wipe out their record or accuse them of corruption. I don't do that. All I'm judging is conduct that does not meet the norms that should prevail in Indian journalism today. And I'm delighted that MJ Akbar, we are on the same wavelength on this.
Ram did say that, just to sort of alter the subject slightly, is this the Bofors of Indian media?
Yeah, but in the sense that, you do something wrong and then there's a transaction that takes place, and then there's an attempt at a cover-up, and then there's an investigation. So in that sense, the cycle goes on.
Yeah. No, just another point. We are happy by saying that we should express regret. So by the same standards, Ashok Chavan should have expressed regret and carried on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, MJ.
And I think there was several other points made by Dilip, which I take strong objection to in terms of journalism. It's not merely a question of payment. The kind of people you use as sources, what you do with sources is fundamental to our conduct as journalists. And a PR head of Tata and Ambani cannot be your source for a political story. It is unacceptable. Leave alone what you then go ahead and do, which includes the impression of passing message.
She's a source for Kannimori also.
Rahul, the question is rightly put. Before the Indian journalism, but what the question is, what journalists we have written about ourselves. We are accountable to the people who are answering questions. What about the tapes which are not being published? What about the bureaucrats we are talking? 104 hours and 200,000 days. Why we have not written about fixing debate in the parliament? Why we are not chasing the bureaucrats who have spoken about payment, like MJ's paper and has carried a story about some judge? The question is, what is not so far come out That is the story.
And that will come out.
That will come out. Nobody stop because Supreme Court
Trust me, that will come out.
We should be waiting for that.
If people are nervous at this moment,
because that is what I'm
going
asking.
to come. There should be lots of
fixing parliament debate has never happened in this country. If there is a charge, it must be investigated.